John Deere Model R.
We had to use a little bit of ether that time.
In the late 1940s, America had just emerged from the war and was moving rapidly toward a more modern agricultural production. In that context, John Deere, a name already synonymous with rural America, introduced a memorable milestone, the Model R tractor, launched in 1949. This was John Deere's first diesel tractor, marking the beginning of an era of efficient, powerful, and fuel-efficient mechanization. Between 1949 and 1954, a total of 21,293 Model RS were produced at the plant in Waterloo, Iowa. When it was first launched, the Model R cost about $3,650, a huge investment at the time, but a testament to the quality and long-term vision of American farmers. The design of the Model R was utilitarian, sturdy, heavy, unpretentious, but effective. Farmers didn't need a flashy machine back then, they needed a durable companion in the field, and the Model R was just that. Weighing in at over 7,400 pounds, it held its ground firmly, plowing deep and evenly through hard-packed furrows. The 415.5-CU.IN horizontally opposed twin-cylinder diesel engine provided solid performance, especially when compared to gasoline engines of the time. More notably, John Deere equipped it with a small gasoline starter motor, which heated the combustion chamber before starting the main engine, a clever detail that was especially useful on cold Midwestern mornings. In terms of power, the Model R produced about 43 horsepower at the tractor shaft and 48.5 horsepower at the belt shaft, enough to pull a large tractor or run continuously for hours without tiring. The 5-speed transmission allows for speed adjustment for every type of work, from deep plowing to pulling a heavy trailer. Another notable feature is the live PTO shaft that transmits live power, a first for a John Deere tractor. This allows the operator to use a combine, grinder, or any attachment without having to stop the tractor in motion, a small improvement that makes a big difference. At 147 inches long and about 79.5 inches wide, it fits well on both large and medium-sized farms. The 22-gallon diesel fuel tank combined with a 1-gallon fuel tank for the auxiliary engine allows the machine to run all day without refueling. A great convenience in the days before gas stations on every corner. Today, when it comes to classic tractors of the 20th century, the John Deere Model R is still remembered as one of the most reliable models of the 1950s. Not because it was the fastest or most powerful, but because it was the one you could rely on, year after year. For those who grew up in the wheat or corn fields of Nebraska, Kansas, or Iowa, the deep rumble of the Model R diesel engine starting up in the early morning mist is a memory that will never be forgotten. It is the sound of hard work, of perseverance, and of a time when faith in your tractor was as important as faith in the coming harvest. Farmall Model M.
The Super M's just strolling.
In 1939, America was recovering from the Great Depression and entering a period of Reconstruction, where agriculture played a central role in the economy. It was also the time when International Harvester introduced the Farmall Model M tractor, a machine born to serve the large farms and vast fields in the Midwest and the South. During its production period from 1939 to 1954, more than 270,000 Farmall M tractors rolled off the factory line, an impressive number, proving the absolute trust that American farmers had in it. When it was first launched, the selling price was around $1,100 to $1,400, depending on the configuration, a big investment, but worth every penny. The design of the Farmall M was simple, durable, and performance-oriented, true to the philosophy of the time. The slim profile with narrow front axle allowed the machine to maneuver flexibly in corn and soybean rows, something that many other models at that time could not do. This was a high-riding model suitable for most types of row crops. The C248 engine, 4 cylinders, displacement of nearly 248 CUN, produced a characteristic sound, warm and steady. This gasoline engine was capable of stable operation all day long, Even when pulling a 3-blade plow or a large bean mill, it still maintained speed and torque. In terms of power, the Model M provided about 33 horsepower at the tractor shaft and more than 36 horsepower at the belt shaft, making it capable of pulling and operating most standard farm equipment at that time. With a 5-speed forward and 1 reverse transmission, the machine allowed the operator to choose the appropriate speed for each type of terrain and work, a big plus when tilling or spreading fertilizer. The Farmall M's 540 RPM PTO could drive a lawn mower, water pump, or grinder. Combined with the lift-all hydraulic system, the machine allowed for smooth lifting and lowering of attachments, something not many tractors of the 1940s had. Weight-wise, the Model M weighed in at over 4,800 pounds unladen and up to 6,700 pounds loaded, providing good traction and no slipping when working on hard or steep terrain. Measuring 133 inches long, 84 inches wide, and over 78 inches tall, it was easy to handle but still bulky enough for serious work. With a 21-gallon fuel tank, the operator could work all day without refueling, a big advantage during those days of continuous dawn-to-sundown farming. Many of you watching this video probably drove a Farmall M in your younger years. Maybe it was the first one your dad bought after the war, or the one you drove yourself when you were 10, learning to reverse down a hard red dirt road in July. Those memories aren't just about work, they're about reliability. The Farmall Model M is a symbol of the 1950s, the height of traditional farming before mass technology. For me, and for hundreds of thousands of farmers across America, the Farmall M will forever be a symbol of steadfastness, of trust, and of a time when a tractor wasn't just a tool, it was part of the family. Minneapolis-Moline UB. In the early 1950s, Minneapolis-Moline, known for its slogan "Modern Machinery for Modern Farming," introduced one of its most memorable tractors, the Minneapolis-Moline UB. Introduced in 1953 and produced until 1955, the UB was not a mass-market machine like the Ford 8N or Farmall M, but it won the hearts of many farmers thanks to its ruggedness, simplicity, and extreme reliability. The UB was built in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the heart of the Midwest, and had an initial retail price of $2,600 to $3,200, depending on configuration and fuel options. At first glance, the UB's design exudes ruggedness and practicality. With its massive chassis, sturdy body, and distinctive yellow paint, the UB was unmistakable among the field tractors. The 283.7 cu liquid-cooled, 4-cylinder gasoline engine provided smooth, reliable operation. For many farmers, the UB was the go-to machine every morning, no matter the weather. In addition to the gasoline engine, the UB also had the option of using LP gas, liquefied petroleum gas, and diesel, meeting the diverse needs of users at that time. In terms of power, the UB produced 44.6 horsepower at the tractor shaft and over 51 horsepower at the belt drive shaft, an impressive figure for the mid-1950s. This enabled the UB to efficiently operate attachments such as 3-blade plows, grinders, crushers, and even large haymakers. A 5-speed forward and 1 reverse transmission was standard, but the real draw was the inclusion of a live PTO, which allowed power to be transmitted to the outboard even when the clutch was disengaged, something that many machines of the era could not do. The UB's weight of 6,050 pounds provided excellent stability, preventing the UB from slipping on steep or wet ground. With an 88-inch wheelbase, it was not a very long machine, but it was sturdy enough to pull heavy loads and maintain good balance. Fuel capacity was 12 gallons for the gasoline model and up to 35 gallons for the LP gas model, allowing the UB to work all day without refueling, a big plus during busy seasons. Finally, the powerful, responsive hydraulics provided smooth, precise lifting and lowering of rear-mounted equipment. Anyone who has ever operated a tractor with a sluggish hydraulic system knows the value of this feature. When it comes to the most reliable tractors of the 1950s, the Minneapolis-Moline UB stands alone. It was not the cheapest, nor the most popular, but it was a tireless, durable, loyal, and easy-to-repair machine. With its distinctive booming sound and its bright yellow color in the Midwestern sun, the UB was more than just a farming tool, it was a memory. An image associated with the years of father and son working together in the fields, with bountiful harvests and dry spells. Ford 8N. In 1947, the United States was experiencing rapid growth after World War II. At the same time, the fields were beginning to change. It was then that the Ford Motor Company introduced the Ford 8N tractor, a small machine, but designed to do big things. It was the next improved version of the 9N and 2N models, with outstanding innovations. From 1947 to 1952, Ford produced more than 524,000 of them, making it one of the most produced tractors in American history. When it was first introduced, it sold for about $1,404, and the important thing is, for that money, farmers were not just buying a tractor, they were buying reliability. The design of the Ford 8N was simple but effective, small body, lightweight, easy to handle. Thanks to its reasonable ground clearance and wider front axle design than the previous 9N model, the machine easily maneuvered in narrow fields, ideal for small and medium-sized farms, which made up the majority of the cultivated acreage in the United States at that time. The 119.7 cu in four-cylinder gasoline engine was smooth and reliable. With 23 horsepower at the drive shaft and 27 horsepower at the PTO shaft, the Ford 8N was powerful enough to plow, pull a trailer, operate a pump or a lawn mower, all of the daily farm work it could handle. One of the biggest improvements was the 4-speed forward, 1 reverse transmission, different from the 3-speed transmission on the 9N. Thanks to that, the driver could better control the working speed, from deep plowing to light transport. This was a big step forward in terms of user experience. The Ford 8N SPTO operates at 545 RPM, providing efficient power to outboard equipment. Combined with a 3-point hydraulic system, this machine truly becomes a mobile workstation, able to lift, lower, pull, and work with a variety of farming equipment. Weighing in at around 2,400 pounds, the machine is compact yet sturdy enough to grip the ground while working. With an overall length of 115 inches and a width of nearly 65 inches, the 8N easily maneuvers even in tight spaces, like sheds or orchard entrances. The 10-gallon fuel tank allows for hours of continuous operation, making it suitable for long days in the sun. For many of you sitting in front of your screens today, the Ford 8N is more than just a tractor, it's a memory. It may be the first tractor your father drove, or the one you used to plow your first field. It wasn't loud, it wasn't flashy, but it started every morning and got the job done every afternoon. For decades, hundreds of thousands of 8Ns have been working in the fields, on the farm, and on family farms, a living testament to a time when manufacturing tools carried both confidence and pride. If you still have a Ford 8N in your garage, don't write it off as a thing of the past. Because sometimes the simplest things are the most enduring. Massey Harris 44. In the late 1940s, American agriculture was entering its golden age. In this context, Massey Harris, one of the old names from Canada, introduced the Massey Harris 44 in 1947. The machine quickly became a mainstay in the agricultural industry, not only in the North but also throughout the Midwest and South. By 1953, when production ended, more than 84,000 Massey 44s had rolled off the assembly line. The initial retail price at the time of its introduction was around $2,400, and for that price, farmers were not just buying a machine, they were buying peace of mind. The design of the Massey 44 reflected the spirit of the times, practical and loyal. At over 135 inches long, 79 inches wide, and about 80 inches high, it was a big machine but still maneuverable enough to move between rows of crops, especially in the narrow front axle row crop version. The 4.3-liter, four-cylinder Continental engine was one of the most reliable engines of its time. Many farmers reported that their Masseys would start on the coldest winter day, as well as in the middle of the dry summer, as long as there was gas in the tank. In terms of power, the Massey 44 produced nearly 40 horsepower at the pulley and over 45 horsepower at the belt, very impressive numbers for the late 1940s. This power helped the machine operate large equipment such as 3-blade plows, corn mills, hay balers, etc. The transmission had 5 forward speeds and 1 reverse gear for flexible speed adjustment, from slow tillage to heavy hauling across long fields. Some later versions also included a live PTO that allowed you to operate peripheral equipment even with the clutch disengaged, a valuable feature if you ever had to shut down the machine in the middle of pumping water or running a mill. For weight, the Massey 44 has a solid chassis, weighing in at over 4,100 pounds unladen and approaching 7,000 pounds fully loaded. That weight translates to excellent traction, especially important when working on steep or slippery ground. A 19-gallon main fuel tank combined with a 5-gallon auxiliary tank allows for all-day work without refueling, a practical advantage that anyone who has driven an old tractor knows well. In addition, the 1,050 psi, 7.5 GPM hydraulic system provides enough power to lift, rotate, and maneuver attached farming equipment, from a froer to a manure spreader. When we look back to the past, a time when farmers would wake up with the dew, work until the sun set on the red roofs, perhaps somewhere in our memories, the image of a Massey Harris 44 is still intact. It was not the most modern machine, nor the fastest or the most comfortable, but it was one of the most reliable tractors of the 1950s because it worked hard, day in and day out, on the land we call home. The Massey Harris 44, not just a page in the history of agricultural mechanization, but a chapter in the lives of so many American growers. A beautiful, durable chapter. Well folks, here we are, looking back at 5 of America's most reliable tractors of the 1950s. Machines that not only worked hard but also became an inseparable part of the memories of millions of farmers. From the John Deere Model R, the first revolutionary diesel, to the Farmall Model M, a loyal friend through the seasons, to the Ford 8N, a compact and efficient icon, to the Massey Harris 44, powerful and durable, and finally the Minneapolis-Moline UB, a golden machine that left its mark on the open fields. Each of these tractors represented not only a technology, but also a way of life, an era, and a belief in honest labor. If you've driven one of these machines, or still have one in your shed, share your story in the comments. We'd love to hear it. And if you find this video brings back fond memories, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next farm stories. Thank you for your time. See you in the next video, where we preserve and tell the history of soil and machines together. Wishing you a peaceful day, like the fields after harvest.